Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. It's the best part of Dorothy's dream.
First up, Deb is at the Dickinson County Historical Museum. Then she travels to Liebenthal, a small German community with a lot to see, and a must-stop along the way to indulge in some tasty snacks. And we end up today at Cheyenne Bottoms, a surprise for those travelers that say Kansas is flat and there's nothing to see. Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Tarwater Farm and Home. Come on by, we'll treat you like family.
Well, this is my favorite part of the Dickinson County Historical Museum, and you'll recognize the figure, the bust of Wild Bill Hickok just behind me here, and there are several artifacts connected with his time here in Abilene. And of course, he was here during Abilene's heyday as a cow town. Abilene became famous because it was a railhead for the cows being driven north out of Texas. And of course, then they were shipped back east. Well, Wild Bill, from 1870 to 71, was the marshal here in Abilene. And he was a pretty tough marshal. You know, he's pretty handy with a gun, and ironically, his job is to enforce a no-gun law within the city limits. And keeping those rowdy cowboys in line was a pretty tough job. Now, one of the most controversial incidents of his entire career happened here in Abilene, and that's when he was responding to a disturbance involving Phil Coe. And in the process of handling that disturbance, one of his deputies came up behind him unexpectedly, and he wheeled around and shot his deputy and killed him. It was a very unfortunate accident, definitely an accident, and he was the last man that Bill Hickok killed. And after a short time there, he was relieved of his duties here, and of course he'll go on to 1876 to Deadwood, where he will be killed in a card game in Deadwood. Abilene is at the very head of the Chisholm Trail, probably the most famous trail for moving cattle during the heyday of the cowboy era. And it owes that prominence along the cow towns to Joseph McCoy. Now, McCoy came to Kansas and was going to make his fortune moving cows from Texas back east. The demand for beef after the American Civil War was tremendous in the Northeast. So he was going to take advantage of that, and all the new railroads coming through and all those cows, those longhorns who lay in Texas, all we had to do was get them up the trail, get them on the railroads, and ship them back to be slaughtered. So that was his plan. And Abilene was just a little village, if that, you know, just a few sod houses and a handful of businesses before McCoy picked that to be the railhead, the trailhead for the movement of the cattle. And Jesse Chisholm, ironically, the man who gave his name to the Chisholm Trail, never moved any cattle. He owned a little trading post there near Oklahoma City, part of the Cherokee Nation, and acted sort of as a guide for people going along that way, but he never traded cattle himself. And it's just ironic that the most famous cattle trail bears his name. I'm so sad that we are here at the Dickinson County Museum on a day when my friend Jeff Sheets, who's the director, has a rare time off, because I'd love to be able to visit with him about what a great job he's done with these displays. And one of the best is behind me here, and it's the early exploration of what is going to become Kansas at one time. You know, this was part of the Louisiana Purchase. So in 1803, when President Jefferson buys this from France, You know, one of the reasons this was such a valuable area was the fur trade. And the French had valued it for the fur trade. And they've got this great beaver hide on the wall and then the beaver hat right next to it. Beaver was the currency of the day, furs, but especially beaver. And the streams here in the middle of Kansas were rich with beaver. It's hard for us to imagine that now, but at that time, they would have been everywhere. They would have just been everywhere. And it was just a trapper's dream to come through the middle of the state. So I just thought it was so great that Jeff included this early part of history in the whole area of Dickinson County, because it's one that we don't normally associate with this part of the state.
Tallgrass Commodities offers producers bulk commodities at a reasonable price with reliable service throughout the whole Midwest. To find out more about Tallgrass Commodities, visit tallgrass.us or call 785-494-8484. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, just a short drive down the Yellow Brick Road.
Really wonderful exhibit here at the Dickinson County Historical Museum on the railroad's impact on this community and the entire West, not just on Abilene. But this great poster that the Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe Railroad sent to Europe, advertising for people to come to America and settle lands along the Santa Fe. So the Santa Fe Railroad is going to carry culture, it's going to carry civilization throughout the Southwest, and this was a great place to start. And for those teeming masses of Europeans who had outgrown the land and had very little opportunity, this truly was the promised land, the land where dreams could come true. The American dream really has its birth right here in the West, and Kansas is literally at the heart of it. So we were talking about a lot of those communities before on other episodes, you know, the Czech communities, the German communities, the Swedish communities, the Russian communities. The reason we have those is because of ads like this that the Santa Fe Railroad, the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe sent to Europe, just begging for settlers and promising them land out here. And of course, the railroad means everything to Abilene. This, again, you've got the trailhead for the cows and the railroad coming together, and so all of that comes together to create this community. And with the Homestead Act, you've got all these soldiers coming out here after the Civil War is over from the east to make this their home, again, because we've got land and we've got opportunity. And the railroad is just the bloodline, if you will, the arteries for that to happen. Without that railroad, none of this can take place. Hello? Sorry, can't talk right now. We're filming around Kansas. I'll call you back in a few minutes. Where can we go today without our cell phones? And if you look around here in the Dickinson County Historical Museum, you'll see the most incredible collection of phones I've ever seen in my life. It's just unreal. There are posters here about party lines. Are any of you old enough to remember party lines? I actually do. When I was a kid back in the dark ages, we were on a party line and everybody had like a different number of rings, longs or shorts, to indicate whose phone was being called. And of course you would pick up the phone and listen in on your neighbors, and you know, those were the good old days. This collection's incredible. You've got the switchboards, you've got the phone booth. Where would Superman have been without the phone booth? I don't know what he does these days, but this is just, what a great surprise in the back of this already incredible museum. You got to make this a stop.
Hello friends, I'm Ernie Rodina.
And I'm Dawn Dawson with the Better Horses Radio Show.
For over 9 years, we've been bringing the Better Horses Radio Show to markets all across the Midwest. We talk about God, lots about horses.
We talk about cows, we talk about horse health, we talk to top trainers, and we even talk about Roy Rogers.
We're having a blast with Better Horses Radio Show and would love to take it to a market near you.
So visit our website at betterhorsesradio.com and let us or your local radio station know you'd like to hear it in your area.
The Better Horses Radio Show is unbelievable.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Buying a car shouldn't be this hard. And at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego, it isn't. It's actually awesome. Whether you want a new or used car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. Even if you want to custom order a new car or truck, Toby's team can make the deal. See Toby's team at Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're awesome.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Around Kansas, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, Progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Believe it or not, we're still in the Dickinson County Historical Museum. Can you believe it? So many buildings here, so much to see. And a few minutes ago, we looked at the evolution of the telephone over the years, and now you can see the evolution of farm equipment, you know, from the wagons to we've got a patrol car over here. But this harvesting equipment, the tractors, the harvesters, is just an awesome display of not only the evolution of the machinery itself, but really the human story of what it took to pioneer here in Dickinson County and throughout the West, of course, and to make a living off this ground. It's a really wonderful exhibit, and again, the Dickinson County Historical Society has gone to great trouble to keep this all together. There's an exhibit of the different varieties of barbed wire. Who knew? And so many of the local families, of course, have donated vehicles, tractors, to this exhibit. It's one of the things that makes this so special and makes this museum very unique. You know, the families, the community has really stepped up to the plate to donate these items and then to maintain them and share them with the public. Kudos, guys. It's just a fantastic job. One of the jewels of the Dickinson County Historical Museum is this C.W. Parker carousel. Parker was in business in Abilene from the mid-1890s to 1911. At that time, after a dispute with the city of Abilene over property lines and land use, he moved his company to Leavenworth, Kansas. During the decades that followed, he was the undisputed amusement king and was the nation's largest owner of private railroad stock. Production kept up at a steady pace until the Depression that came after the market crash in 1929. Parker died in 1932 at the age of 68 in Leavenworth, leaving scores of his marvelous county fair style carousels as his legacy. It's been painstakingly restored to its former glory, so not only is this on the National Register of Historic Places, you can still ride it. So the whole community can come together right here and enjoy these restored masterpieces of amusement.
Tar Waters has what you need for all seasons for around the farm and home. Working, hunting, growing, feeding, snow removal, even fun for the kids. and a service department with experienced techs to help keep your equipment in top running condition. Tar Waters has a huge selection and the best prices. Tar Water Farm and Home, family owned and operated since 1978. They have what you need.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from Doc Talk. If you miss us on Monday morning, you can join us at 6:30 a.m. every Sunday morning on RFD TV. Doc Talk has a national following. We're sure glad that you joined us on Mondays, but if you miss us and you want to catch us out on a Sunday morning, get up at 6:30 a.m. and we'll be right there, RFD TV, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, and I'll see you down the road.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This is the fast track to more jobs and America's energy independence. Advanced performance is here now. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Around Kansas, brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook, or visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Welcome to Liebenthal in Rush County, Kansas. And Liebenthal is one of those lovely little communities founded in the 1870s by the Volga Deutsch, or those German immigrants from the Volga region of Russia. And they were actually ordered out of the country of Russia by the Tsar. He decided it was time to kick the Germans out. Fortunately, these people were really experienced in growing wheat, so when Kansas was advertising for settlers, it was a perfect place for them to come. And Liebenthal is such a great example of the community they created once they arrived in Kansas. Now, in the heart of Liebenthal, which only has about 50 families now, is of course St. Joseph's Church. And the church itself, hand-quarried stone, magnificent structure, is a beautiful and is obviously the heart of the community. But if you go up to the cemetery, the German Russian heritage is evident there as well, in the beautiful crosses, the metalwork in those crosses, and the obvious German themes from the headstones and the crosses that are there in the cemetery. It's just on a beautiful hilltop overlooking the community. Now, right downtown in Liebenthal, in what used to be the state bank, is Pat's Beef Jerky. And Pat's has been there for more than 20 years, and any given day when they're open, there's a line forming around the block to go in and buy beef jerky. This used to be a bank, and in, I think it was 1927, the bank was robbed. Eventually it closed in the 1930s when so many banks around the country were closing in the midst of the Great Depression. So Pat did an extensive renovation and has a thriving business there that serves not only the community, but pretty much all of Kansas, and a lot of travelers that are coming through, and they're regular customers that order his product from just everywhere. Folks come in from eastern Kansas regularly and stop there in Liebenthal. Just southwest of Hayes, great little community, a must stop on one of your trips around Kansas.
Turn to a Central National Bank Ag Professional. You'll be in good company. They'll help you track expense lines, manage variable input costs, assess ground agreements, pick a crop protection plan. These times demand Ag Professionals. Central National Bank. You could profit from what they know. Ag operations run better on Central Time.
Central National Bank, money for life.
Member FDIC in your hometown since 1884.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hi folks, I'm Jeff Dawson, ranch cowboy and cowboy poet, and I've got a story for you today. You know, a cowboy and a horseman, I'm one and the same. There ain't a cow I can't pen or a horse I can't tame. I grew up in the old school but evolved in the new, but in the same business for years there's been few. I'm on the backside of 50, and I'm pondering now, when I reach 70, will I still ride 'em and how? But my blessings have been many, my heartaches have been few. I've calved thousands of cows and a baby colt or two. Some mounts have been iffy, some spoiled rotten brats, but they all made a cow horse once we got past our spats. Old timers tell me I was born way too late. New wavers say my style's up for debate. But I'm just myself, I've always been that way. I try to do what I think's right and still listen to what others say. I've tried to soak in some knowledge of 50 years or more and tried to be the best, more better than before. But I leave you with this thought before I say goodbye. In my mind, you'll make a cowboy if all you have is try. God bless you, folks.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. Around Kansas, brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Just driving around Kansas, one of my favorite places to take folks, especially people that aren't familiar with the Kansas landscape and think it's just flat and dry, is the Cheyenne Bottoms Wildlife Area. Now, that's about 20,000 acres that the state of Kansas has protected out of a 41,000 acre natural sink. This is just northeast of Great Bend. So in the 1940s and 50s, when the state of Kansas took it over, they actually built a canal system that divided the area they're protecting into pools so that they can control it a little better. This is on a natural bird migration route, so the Cheyenne Bottoms is a paradise for bird watchers. The whooping cranes, just one of the species you can find there, but at any given time it's just almost deafening with the cacophony of bird sounds on the marshes. Now it's a trial to control that. Now you've got all these invasive species of plants that have to be controlled, and they want to keep, of course, the bird migration going, so they can drain these pools and actually sow it with millet or, some kind of seeds that help feed the birds and keep them coming back. It's an absolute incredible place. There are times when the marsh is so full it's like you're just sitting on the shore of the ocean, and you can just see the waves lapping in this just incredible wetlands, and so surprising right here in the heart of Kansas to come across that. In managing the wetlands, one of the things that the state of Kansas has done were build dikes to impound 5 pools of water in the Cheyenne Bottoms area. Now, canals and dams were built to divert water from the nearby Arkansas River and Wet Walnut Creek to supplement the water provided by 2 intermittent streams, the Blood and Deception Creeks. Now, of course, when we think about drought around the state, it affects farming and livestock production, all those things that we normally think of. But with the Cheyenne Bottoms, what the drought means to maintaining the wildlife is virtually incalculable. This is such an important place for the nesting and migration of migratory species that we can't even put a amount on how valuable that space is for them. So when you're driving around Kansas, it's going to be a big surprise when you stop at the Cheyenne Bottoms. Make sure that's on your stop.
Closed captioning brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress, powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome to Kansas, gateway to Oz. Under the rainbow, this is where it was. Hollyhocks and red ripe tomatoes, hand-churned homemade ice cream. Let me tell you, Kansas is more than tornadoes. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream. We're the best part of Dorothy's dream.